Hi, welcome to the third episode of There Was a Country. I remain your host, Osho Abiodun. In today's episode, we are going to be starting with a direct quote from the book. It reads, "When you have been transformed from a national leader into hunted prey in your own capital, the simple act of drawing a border becomes a desperate plea for human survival." In this third part of our review of Chinua Achebe's There Was a Country, a personal history of Biafra, we move into the pivotal months surrounding May 30th, 1967, the day the lucky generation finally stopped running and declared the independence of the Republic of Biafra. Achebe frames this transition not as a mere military pivot, but as a dream that had become reality, representing the only valid basis for existence for a people who felt their security had been entirely abandoned by the Nigerian federal government, who is supposed to take care of them. The narrative of the book is careful to note that this was not the isolated ambition of a single officer. Achebe documents how Ojukwu carried a mandate from a body of the most distinguished Nigerians of the era, including Dr. Nnamdi Azikiwe and Sir Louis Mbanefo. One of the most fascinating intellectual layers of Achebe's personal history is his own role in chairing the National Guidance Committee. He provides an insider's look at the drafting of the Ahera Declaration, a document that was intended to define the soul of the new nation, which is a fusion of Western democratic ideas and what the author calls ancient traditional virtue. This intellectual posture draws a clear line to the negritude movement championed by Leopold Sedar Senghor and M. Caesar, as both sought to reclaim the power of African self-definition in the wake of colonial denigration. However, an intelligent review must also grapple with the biting critics the book acknowledges or inspires. Achebe cites the diplomat Ralph Ngwiche, who offers a scathing counter-narrative in his own memoirs, arguing that the Biafran leadership prioritized its own survival over the survival of the Igbo race. Similarly, the late Senator Francis Ella suggests in these pages that Biafra may have missed a crucial window for a confederated peace in early 1968. Why? Because of the leadership and perhaps the intellectuals surrounding them remained too unyielding on absolute non-negotiable sovereignty. The book is at its most unsparing when exposing what Achebe calls the triangle game, the cynical international realpolitik that prolonged the conflict. He uses released British cabinet papers to demonstrate how Harold Wilson's government continued to arm Nigeria, not out of moral commitment to unity, but to protect substantial oil investment and trade. This cold calculation stands in stark contrast to the electric moment Tanzania recognized Biafra. Achebe reminds us that President Julius Nyerere viewed the Biafran struggle through a historical lens, comparing the Igbo search for a homeland to that of the Jewish people after the Holocaust. One of the most defiant sections of Achebe's account documents the desperate innovation occurring within the blockaded enclave. Stripped of foreign support, Biafran scientists from the Research and Production Unit developed the notorious Ogunigwe bomb, and lands to refine petroleum in back gardens. For Achebe, these feats were a direct rebuke to the colonial myth that Africans could not manage complex technology without Western supervision. Yet there is a haunting quality to this chapter of the review. While the author celebrates the spirits of the land of the rising sun, he also records the poetic tragedy of the era, the death of his dear friend, the legendary poet Christopher Okigbo. This loss brings up the difficult question posed by the scholar Ali Mazrui. Does a great artist have the right to sacrifice their creative potential for a political cause? As Achebe's history unfolds, we see the optimism of nation building give way to the birth of death, setting the stage for the next and darkest phase of the war, the implementation of starvation as a weapon. Don't forget to join me in the next episode as we move to the fourth episode of There Was a Country. I remain your host, Osho Abiodun. I hope you've learned something.